But, all right.
All right.
Medulla oblongata.
You're listening
You're listening
You're listening
to another episode
of the Fresh Takes.
podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Fresh Takes podcast. I am your host, Tim, alongside my two beautiful co-hosts, Tank and Pat. And boys, what an eventful weekend. I didn't really see much of the games because I was at a wrestling event last night, but from what I heard, there was some Hail Marys going on.
Yeah. Some Hail Marys and
Some Hail Marys, some Cowboys going down, some big fantasy boys.
Hell, a lot of hell.
it was tight. It
Yeah.
was tight. National Tight Ends Day.
Yeah, and I think they said that this
It
national
was
tight ends had
productive.
the most catches and most touchdowns by tight ends.
I think since 2020, I think it was, or
I think it's since it
2019.
started.
Oh, really?
I think it started in 2018, but yeah, the most touchdowns and most catches by tight ends.
That's what I'm saying. I thought it was 2019. I thought they said 2019 or 2020. I can't remember, but
Look, I told you all to put in tight ends in fantasy this week. It was National Tight Ends Day.
and I should have, and I did.
But
So
all right, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna do the in and outs again this week because we got positive vibes off of it last week, and I don't know about you guys, but I enjoyed it until Tank crashed on us.
I don't know
Yeah.
what happened to my laptop. I sent you all the picture. I don't know what happened, but now it's fine.
Wait, yeah. Yeah, that looked like it wasn't going to be fine.
Yeah, I
So it
was waiting for you the next
all
day to
worked
be
out.
like, my laptop's done.
Well, I mean, the next day I kind of let it sit there and it just do what his thing, and then the next day after that, I was like, working, okay,
Oh,
okay.
okay. Well, all right. You guys ready to just jump into it? We're gonna do it differently this time because we got nine in and outs this time. So we're gonna do three segment, three, and then hit it with Pat's segment to end. So, all
Good.
right. I've taken, I think, three 1 o'clock games, four 1 o'clock games, one Thursday night, one Sunday night, and I think three of the 4 o'clock games. So, we got a diversity in this.
Okay.
So we'll start off with a Thursday night game. The Rams are playoff contenders with Cooper Kupp and Puka back.
I'm gonna go L. I'm not. I don't. I still don't feel like they're playoff contenders even with them back.
See, I think with how that division is, that they could be playoff contenders. Because I mean, Seattle's 4-4. The Niners are 4-4. The Cardinals are 3-5. The Rams are 2-6. They're right behind.
I mean, you're gonna have to look at. You're gonna to make playoffs. I have a feeling you're gonna have to at least go minimum of 10-7. I don't think you're
Yeah.
gonna. I don't think you're making it in at 9-8. So 10-7, that means they can only lose one more game out of the rest of the season, and they have to win the rest, pretty
Well,
much.
here, since,
Yeah.
Al Michaels had to mention it 12 different times Thursday night. Last year, the Rams were 3-6, and they won seven out of their last eight to get in. So, I
I
mean,
don't know.
it's possible.
It's
It's possible,
possible.
yes.
I don't see it happening again this year. I think they're just a little too far gone. If they were, I mean, even the Cardinals record with one more game towards the division lead, then I might be more inclined. But to make up two games in a division and not really be able to lose another one, it'd be tough.
My only thing with why I would say no is because of one of the questions we'll get into later, but also the Niners will get CMC back. And I mean, with CMC back, I don't think that the Niners won't make the playoffs.
Yeah, and I think the only way the Rams make the playoffs is if they win that division. I don't think there's enough room in the NFC for like more wild card spots.
Yeah. Because, I mean, if we look at it now, I think Philly, Minnesota, and Green Bay will get the wild cards.
Philly, Minnesota, and who?
Green Bay.
Wild card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think Detroit's losing that division.
I'm talking about Philly.
Washington has that locked.
I don't know about that, buddy.
I have a feeling Washington.
Hey, man, Mariota destroyed Carolina. All right. So you're ready for the next one? Are we in or we out? The Lions have the best offense that we've seen in the 2020s era. So that includes 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, and this year. Now here, before you vote on it, let me give you a statistic that I saw yesterday. The Detroit Lions in the last 6 games have had a total of 24 offensive touchdowns and only 19 incompletions. So they get more touchdowns than they have had incompletions.
Be efficient. I would say, well, you can. There's a lot of stats I've seen leaking out from their stretch where, like, yeah, efficiency and numbers are just outrageous percentages, and they're still like the most fun team to watch. So I'm gonna say, yeah, they. I don't have a problem disagreeing with that. I'm in.
So I think that they have the best offense that we've seen in the 2020s.
I mean,
now, if you ask me like all time, I'm going to say no.
I don't want to say all time, but if you're talking about 2020s, here's my biggest issue. I want to say yes, because like y'all said, they're fun to watch. Their stats are remarkable, but I don't know, man. I have a feeling that the Chiefs have a little bit better offense in the 2020s than the Lions. And I hate to say it, but I just feel that the Chiefs. Okay, here out of
Which Chiefs are you
100%,
thinking?
the 2020s.
No,
Right?
I'm not talking about. I'm talking about just 1 year. Like the 2024 Lions has the best offense we have ever seen in the 2020s. So if you are saying like the 2021 Chiefs offense was better than the 2024 Lions, I'm not talking from that whole 4-year stretch.
Okay, so then again, I misunderstood your question.
I should have worded it better.
I'm a little dumb over here, okay? And I get that, and I'll take that award, guys. I will take that award.
Hey, you're in training for a new job, so I'll cut you some slack.
Thank you. So yes, I will say yes that this is the best.
Say, I think the only really comparison I would say is like maybe 2021 Chiefs when they had prime Mecole and they had Tyreek, Kelsey. But I mean, yeah, I'm giving it to the Lions so far. I mean, one of the like most explosive 2 backs.
Yeah, like maybe spurts of last year's Dolphins.
Oh yeah. I didn't even think of the Dolphins last year. Although I think the Dolphins the year before, well, no, okay, because of Raheem last year.
Yeah.
I was going to say the year before was the receivers, but last year was the running backs until Tua went down 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So, all right. Are we in or we out? The Titans should have never fired Mike Vrabel, and they're on a downcline.
100% agree with that.
I say I don't think that they should have got rid of Vrabel.
I think that was probably one of the dumbest moves that they could have done. I think Vrabel, I'm not saying he's a great coach, but I mean, I think if he was still there, I think the Titans would be a different team, 100% different team.
Kind of am in the threshold and standing in the doorway here. I don't know if I'm in or out because
well, you're letting the air in, so you got to pick.
What I don't know about your all's parents, but they always told me I'm not heating or air conditioning outside
I'm not
out
heating
there.
the outside
Yeah.
or heating the neighborhood.
They definitely shouldn't have. I don't think Vrabel should have been fired quite yet. But I mean, they're definitely not good this year or worse. But I mean, uh, I'd like to give it another year with the Callahan operation to see because I think the defense still has some. If you ignore what just happened, I think the defense still has a little light.
Yeah, I think my biggest thing is Will Levis looked a lot more comfortable and better under Mike Vrabel. But as we've seen from this year, Will Levis looks awful.
Yes.
And I mean, Calvin Ridley came there because he was excited to play with that offense. And then Calvin Ridley's pissed off. They got rid of Hopkins. Will Levis doesn't look good.
Yeah,
I
it's a
mean,
nightmare.
Uh,
Almost as scary as Devontae to the Jets, really.
yeah. Say, I think the only real thing is Tony Pollard's doing good in Tennessee, but I felt Tony should have stayed in Dallas. Say, I
yeah.
think Tony probably could have a lot more stats than what he has now if he stayed in Dallas. But
He might have
speaking
got
of
a
Dallas,
he might
let's
have
head
got
it
a
on
mid
over.
pay
Huh?
bump. He might have got a mid-season pay bump in Dallas right now. Jerry Jones might personally write him a bonus check if he was on the Dallas Cowboys right now.
Jerry Jones might try and trade for him. But all right, speaking of Dallas, let's take it on over to our Dallas fan for that catch though with Tank. Take it away, Tank.
Welcome to this week's episode of That Catch, though.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another episode of That Catch, though. I got 3 nominees, 1 honorable mention, and we'll see who wins. So here comes my honorable mention. I'm not going to lie. I don't know how to fully pronounce his name 100%, but he comes from the 49ers, and it's the Miorde Lenore. Did I butcher that, guys?
I think it is Diomorde
Dia-
Lenore.
Diamador Lenore.
Okay.
Okay. So thank you, Pat. Sorry if he ever watches this episode, I do apologize for butchering your name. But for the interception they got off of Dak Prescott, you got that honorable mention. So we'll get right into my 3 nominees. Here's the first one. The first video is nominated by the good friend David Njoku from the Cleveland Browns.
Looking toward the end zone for Njoku. What a grab!
Video number 2 comes from Washington Commanders Noah Brown on the Hail Mary. Here it is.
Here comes the Hail Mary with the game on the line. And the ball is caught! Caught!
Video 3 comes from none other than Justin Jefferson of the Minnesota Vikings.
Darnold to the corner to Jefferson, getting one-handed.
And the winner of all of those nominees, Justin Jefferson. Congratulations.
Let's go, Jay Jettas.
Woo! Man, that was bad.
You guys will see a blooper on Friday.
I have a feeling we will.
But all right, let's just jump right back into it. Are we in or are we out? The Colts need to put Flacco back in for good.
100% in.
Especially
He-
after Richardson pulled himself out of the game because he was tired.
Flacco, for how old is he? Does anybody know off the top of their head?
38. 39.
Is he 30? Okay, so
39.
39. For him to be able to still do what he's doing, not saying that, age is a factor, but as a quarterback, you're always getting hit. You're always having to run. You're always never know what's going to be around you. For him to be at his age and him to still do the things that he's doing, phenomenal. And he needs to get back in 100% as a starter.
Yeah, I agree. I think Richardson's looking pretty bad out there.
I think Cole trusts the team around him is actually like a solid playoff team. So if they made the change, it would help them. It wouldn't be a complete doom for Anthony Richardson's future he could come back refreshed next year still with the Colts. If they just bench him the rest of this year, be like, hey, like take some time, learn some stuff, start again next year. We invested a fourth overall pick in you 2 years ago. We're not done with it yet, but his completion percentage is abysmal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's where my biggest thing is at. I think the receivers are a lot more happy with Flacco because, I think between the four of the good receivers they have, they were all getting at least 4 or 5 catches between each other and, 60 plus yards. Like, with me having Josh Downs on fantasy, it's hit or miss if I put him in that week. 1 week he'll get 1 catch for 3 yards. 1 week he'll get 23 points in fantasy.
Just imagine Mariano Rivera coming out, throwing two outs, and then being like, I don't got the third one in me.
And then
We-
just be like, look, put somebody else in, man. I can't do this. And then it's a walk off.
Y'all don't have to bring up things about that. I mean, it's
Oh,
tough
my
to watch. Okay,
Yeah,
Yo,
probably
Yankees.
probably shouldn't have said the walk off after Freddie Freeman Friday night.
So just go ahead and dig it more in. Just
All right. Next up, Stefanski hurt the Brown season by not putting Winston in sooner.
100%, 100%.
And I mean, it's not putting him in sooner because he had to put him in. I think, if Watson doesn't go down, he's not putting Winston in.
I think you're correct on that statement, but at the same time, Winston's showing that, you should have started.
Well, I told you guys so much during the offseason. I wanted the Giants to pursue him because I know Winston is a good quarterback.
It's also hard to tell just because it's the first week he gave up play calling to Ken Dorsey. So, like, I don't want to say it's just that he gave up play calling and not Winston either. Winston would have been a better choice from the start with how bad Watson looked.
Yeah.
But I don't think he necessarily ruined the chances. He kind of had to stick with Watson, barring injury, just because of the contract. He's kind of had his hand forced there, and he had no idea Watson was going to look as bad as he did. I mean, I don't really think he was good, but like he looked bad.
I mean, we've been saying it all season. Watson looked terrible, horrible, crappy.
I don't know. I mean, it's kind of like they've been doing so bad that you would think by now, the fourth quarter, they would at least put Winston in to try it. See what Winston could do in a fourth quarter.
I mean,
in a way,
it's not even. I'm not even saying like starting Winston, like just putting him in.
Yeah,
I think they should have. 100%. I mean, this is the second time that Watson's gone down with a season-ending injury, right? They had, what was it, last year? Flacco came in.
Yeah.
This year they're going to have Winston in. So I mean,
didn't last year Watson get healthy, but they just kept Flacco?
I don't think.
I can't remember.
I thought the last 2 weeks Watson he could go in, but they didn't want to risk it. Like it was like that whole year with Lamar when the Ravens went to the playoffs and like every week they were saying Lamar's healthy and ready to go in, but Lamar wouldn't go in because he didn't want to risk it.
Yeah.
Oh, when they put Huntley in?
Yeah, and then they lost to the Bengals in the playoffs. Yeah, so all right. Last one before we go to the next segment. The NFC North is the best division, and we could potentially see every team making the playoffs.
100% agreed. Their division
I agree until it gets to the last part. I don't think Chicago's making it in. Like, I could see Lions, Packers, and Vikings making it, but I just don't see Chicago. Caleb Williams, I mean, what? Didn't he go, like, 12 for 20 something, 28, 30, like that.
That was the first extended game I got to watch of his because it was like on fully. But yeah, he looks like a rookie, whereas like Daniels doesn't really. He's very hesitant, doesn't throw to his first read a lot, takes too
Well, I
much
mean,
time, and then tries to scramble to make something cool happen, but like gets like a 2 yard gain or like throws.
here's the rest of the schedule for the Bears. They have at Cardinals, home against Patriots, home against Packers, home against Vikings, away at Lions, at the 49ers, at Vikings, home against the Lions, home against Seattle, and then away at Packers.
Yeah, they're not making it.
With that schedule, yeah, no, they're not.
I give them potentially 2 more wins.
Yeah,
And
the way
it might
that
be the
schedule-
next 2 that they have.
So I mean, but yeah, before looking at that schedule, I thought maybe they could. I had a feeling they would make it in, but seeing that schedule, no, they're not making it in.
Yeah, I'm giving them like maybe a 7 and 10. Because didn't you say the Lions were the last one? I think Lions get the.
The Packers are the last one.
I was gonna say I think Lions get solid lockdown of #1 seed, and they just bench their guys. But I don't know. Packers might have to play their people to try and win that division.
So, but I mean,
yeah.
sorry, they're not getting in.
Yeah, I agree that the
But-
NFC North is the best division right now. But yeah, the Bears getting in, I don't see it. And honestly, with this Vikings downfall, who knows?
Yeah. But all right, well, ladies and gentlemen, we'll take it over to another segment of Have a Day, presented by yours truly, Tim.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. As I said earlier, I didn't really watch the games, so I definitely might have missed somebody in my have a day. So hopefully my co-host can chime in if they felt somebody was snubbed or there's somebody who could have been nominated that I didn't nominate. So first up, we got the Buffalo Bills running back James Cook, 17 carries, 111 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 catches for 22 yards. Next up, we got Josh Jacobs for the Packers, who had 25 attempts, 127 yards, and 2 touchdowns, and then 1 catch with -2 yards. And then last but not least, we have the man, Ladd McConkey. 6 catches, 111 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So, I might get some controversy here. I might get told I'm picking wrong. But Ladd McConkey, have a day.
Yeah, you snubbed somebody.
Who was it?
Tank. The greatest podcast host.
You snubbed the boy. You snubbed 2 boys. One of them I'm okay with, I guess. But Kate on.
See, I had Cade at first, but McConkey had more yards. They both had 2 touchdowns, but McConkey had more yards. So that's why I put him over Cade.
And then Jalen Hurts. I mean,
The only reason I don't put Jalen Hurts is I'm not counting your 3 rushing touchdowns from the 1-yard line.
they're touchdowns. Touchdown.
That's all Jalen Hurts is known for.
I say, when I saw Jalen had 35 fantasy points, I was like, oh, he cooked in the second half. And then when I see he had 1-yard rushing touchdowns, I was like, no.
Okay.
But I will give Jalen Hurts an honorable mention.
You know what's funny there, Tim? You even said I might get some controversy on this, and there's your controversy because you didn't nominate Jalen Hurts.
Oh, hey, speaking of controversy, Ramondre Stevenson, I'm glad you listened to our pod last week when I called you out, and I still benched you in fantasy. So there's my other segment, Tim's apologies, Ramondre Stevenson.
So who you going to talk bad about this week? 'Cause I need to know in case I have him on fantasy. I can start.
I'm going to target my own guys. I'm going to talk bad on Chuba Hubbard. Hey, averaging at least 20 plus points every week, and then he gets 9 points last week. Or actually, the next person I could target, is going to actually lead into our next in or out. In or out, the Seahawks need to run the ball more. Kenneth Walker had 9 attempts for 16 yards, and I think Charbonnet had 5. If you look back on games that they're close in or that they have won, there's at least 20 rushing yards between both.
I agree. They need to start running the ball. I think that's one of their. I don't want to say biggest assets because I mean they have the wide receivers, but at the same time, like when you have an asset like Kenneth Walker, come on now,
I
feed
mean, you
the
look
ball.
at when he came back against the Lions. They lost, but they were still in that game, and he had 3 touchdowns.
Yeah,
I'll throw out a scenario here. We have a really good running back, and our really good wide receiver is out. What should we do? Throw the ball a lot.
Yeah, especially to guys like Jake Bobo. Because, Tyler Lockett's only getting 2 looks every game.
yeah.
And then, I mean, Smith and
Bobo.
Najigba, I think Najigba's getting up there. And I think that it might be time that Tyler Lockett's out of Seattle. But, yeah, if DK's out, you got to run the ball more.
Yeah.
And, I mean, Kenneth is a big dude. So, I mean, he can push through.
Yeah. But no, I agree. I think they do need to run the ball.
Okay, so next up, we're gonna go take a step back because we kind of were talking about the Bears game. So, in or out, Jaden Daniels for MVP votes.
I'll let you talk about this, Pat, before I say my thoughts.
Oh, how nice, Tank. Um, you see, haven't done much deep diving into overall statistics midway through the year, but feel of game and like how much he impacts the team. Even though, yeah, they did good with Mariota when he got injured, but no one thought he was really going to play yesterday, and then he comes in and his, I mean, some of his throws sailed occasionally,
He
but
started
he
off kind of
still,
bad.
yeah, he got the rust off a little bit, kind of honed in on his accuracy. Still had a couple late that were kind of not his normal throws, but he ran it. He didn't avoid contact. He toughed it out. He didn't get tired. Uh,
Any Tua and slid.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But
But it looks great. I don't see why not.
I mean, I would definitely put him probably top 3. I mean, even after losing yesterday, he still had a great game, so I would still put Lamar at 1. And I mean, there's
I
all those people fighting for Josh Allen, but I think Jared Goff has a better. But
Yeah.
what was that year? Was it Peyton Manning and Marshall Faulk both won?
I think they did split one, didn't they?
I
yeah, I
think
think
that this year, give it to both of the Lions running backs. Let them split it. I think Gibbs and Montgomery should get it.
There you go, boys.
I mean, I will agree that Jaden Daniels should be in talks of the MVP. I don't feel that he is fully 100% the guy that should win it, but I feel he should be at least top 3, maybe even top 2. Um, there's other players out there that I feel are pulling it off better that they deserve to be top 1 for sure. Uh, I can tell you right now, Mahomes, I put him in top maybe 5 or 6,
I
honestly.
wouldn't even put Mahomes in the top 5, especially after the game against the Raiders. I mean, he's pushing 10. I think my top 5 would go Lamar, Daniels, Goff, Allen, Mayfield. Because I mean,
If we're talking about QB,
I would say Baker even showed that without Godwin and Evans, he is still a good quarterback out there.
I mean, if we're talking about QBs, yes, I'll take that order 100% all day long.
Yeah,
So,
Well,
so
Who's non QB?
Non-QBs, I'd put Derrick Henry up there. I'd put
Derrick Henry's on pace to break the record this year, so I would put Henry up there.
Montgomery
Saquon Barkley.
up there.
Yeah, I mean, I put Saquon in.
More offensive player of the year, not really an MVP.
Yeah, I would definitely lean towards more Saquon if it wasn't for the fact that Jalen is taking the touchdowns from him. Like, winning awards is like stat padded. So if Saquon would have all those touchdowns that he keeps taking, then I think that Saquon would have a better chance of being up there.
Agreed.
All right, and then for our last in or are we out comes from our very own Tank. The Cowboys will not make the playoffs now after last night's loss. You know, whether they lost last night or not, I didn't think Cowboys were making it anyways. I definitely, like we had talked about, the Packers, the Vikings, and potentially the Eagles. Or, if the Vikings continue their downfall, I really think Tampa has a chance of Tampa and Atlanta both making it in.
I mean, I agree. We're not making playoffs. It's sad because at the beginning when we did the projections, I put them at I think 11-6.
I think they were
record.
at 10-7 for me.
And I mean, it's bad, really bad.
Look, I will say in projections,
we're all in over the summer.
Pat picked Washington in projections and put that Dallas wasn't making it. So I don't know. Pat might be the smart one here. But it's not smart? All of us picking the Bengals in the Super Bowl.
Not only that, we even picked Vikings to win on Thursday.
And
I was debating on picking the Rams too, and I was like, nah, I'm gonna go Vikings.
That was me. I was like, do I go with the Rams? Nah, let's go with my Vikings.
I was like, nah, because if I lose, at least we're all losing together.
I know. Well, the Bengals Eagles was my tie pick for the year, and that did not happen. So
yeah. Well, there you go, Tank. Now next year we're gonna see if you can be the one who does it, because I didn't get my tie of last year.
I don't know. We'll figure it out. I'll look into the schedule next year. Let me go ahead and predict it.
He's already like Ravens Steelers.
No, I hope not. But
he's like, week 13, Ravens Steelers.
Honestly, if those two would tie, I wouldn't be that upset because those two teams are a top. I'd say they're top 10.
But next year, we don't even know what's going to happen with Pittsburgh because both their quarterbacks are on one-year contracts.
True.
So, we don't even know what might happen.
I see Justin staying and Russell going. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, why not? I mean, I don't think you're going to keep Russ for $1 million again. So,
my only biggest thing is, I don't know if Justin will want to come back because of being benched for Russ when he was looking as good as he did. I know there's the whole, if Justin plays 51% of the snaps, the trade pick turns into something else. But, I mean, if I'm Justin, I'm like, you need to have faith in me that, that draft pick's not going to matter because I'm going to take us where we need to go.
Yes, I agree with that statement 100%. So,
because, I don't care if a fourth turns into a third, because if it's a third, they could be picking at the very end of the third round. If I lead us to a Super Bowl.
Yeah. I don't see them going to, but I can see where you're coming from.
I don't either. But yeah, if I'm Fields, I'm not sure if I want to come back in case something like that happens.
Ryan Tannehill.
I'm telling you, I think Ryan Tannehill will retire. No team signs him this year. I think next year he's like, yeah, I'm done. Because I think Tannehill is like 37 next year.
I think the Steelers are in a prime spot to become the Colts of 4 years ago, where they just start a new veteran quarterback every year and hope it works out. So next year, maybe it's Joe Flacco back in AFC North.
Well, I mean, right now it's
But
working out for him, though.
yeah, I see Russ this year, maybe Justin next year, or maybe they pull Jacoby Brissett in for a gap
Winston.
year. Yeah, Winston, all these good timers.
I don't know, maybe Daniel Jones.
He'll probably
No.
be a free agent, so
Yeah. Maybe we'll use him to trade.
yeah.
Send him
Actually,
out to Cleveland.
Dude, I saw like a ridiculous trade. They're like, I know he's untouchable, but would you do this trade? And it was Daniel Jones, Dexter Lawrence, and a 7th-round pick for Joe Burrow in a 5th round. I'm like, why would you give up Dexter Lawrence just for Joe Burrow, who is going to get hurt behind that Giants offensive line?
yeah, I mean, we see what he's doing behind a terrible line and
Yeah.
always had.
I
I mean,
mean,
I guess he puts up numbers, but
Yeah, but
no.
he also has somebody in the likes of T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. Malik's
Yeah.
not quite there yet, and nobody is on a T. Higgins level right now.
And you lose your best defensive player.
Yeah. I say the guy who is
I think-
the captain of that defense.
I think it would work out beneficial for the Cincinnati Bengals,
Yeah.
but not Giants.
The Giants, I don't know how many sacks totaled happened over the weekend, but the Giants are the number 1 sack team. And who's leading that? The number 1 sack guy right now, Dexter Lawrence, with 9.
Yeah.
So you definitely don't give up Dexter Lawrence. Especially with Kayvon getting hurt. And then Brian Burns was hurt last week, and I don't know if he's full. Yeah. So yeah,
They should probably trade Brian Burns.
we just got Brian Burns.
I know you did, but it's not a good scheme fit.
He's good with rushing because when he runs the outside, it gets them away, and Aziz is right there to get them. So they kind of have been tanded. I think, if anything, it's Bobby who we should kind of look at.
Don't touch Joe Garrett.
But all right, Pat, give us a breakdown on the old power rankings. You still got Cleveland 32?
No,
Patriots.
no.
No, Patriots just beat the Jets. I put Jackson. No, because Jacksonville was close against the Packers.
What about Carolina?
Yeah, it's got to be Carolina.
Well, in a surprise fall, the Dallas Cowboys have actually made it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm putting Carolina or Tennessee.
Yeah, it's definitely. I think it's Carolina at this point again. Their new resurgency spark faded quickly after 2 weeks, and they look awful again.
Well, I think the problem was Bryce Young. Like, I know that they had to play Bryce Young because of Dalton getting in that car accident, and I'm hoping that they keep Bryce Young in for the Giants game because I think that the Giants defense will eat him alive, and we just have to hope that our offense can do something.
Watch, they're gonna come out. Surprise, Andy Dalton.
It's going to be just like the Bears. Caleb Williams looked awful, and then they go overseas, and Caleb Williams looks like a god among quarterbacks. So Bryce Young is going to look like a freaking monster against us.
Might. And so towards the top of the league, now we're done talking about all these garbage teams. There's a change towards the top.
Good. You better be telling me that number 1's finally changing.
Finally. I've seen enough of a swing of performance that I can justify. All right. Yes. So number 1 has swapped. The Kansas City Chiefs are now the number 2 team in the league. The Detroit Lions.
Yes.
Number 1 team in the league.
We're going to cut them off at the knees.
And then when we get up, we're going to bite them in the kneecap.
We have a change at 3 through 5 because the Ravens lost, the Vikings lost, the Packers won, but Love got hurt. Love got hurt. It wasn't the same team, but
Texans
Yeah, they
look
look a little
sloppy.
sloppy. A lot of sloppiness. I mean, people fall out, people move up. I think we're going to see a, a fan favorite.
I was gonna say Philly's
maybe make the
definitely coming
top
up.
10. Come
You had
on,
Chicago
come
at
on.
10, so
Riggs.
Chicago's coming down and Philly's coming in.
Rigged.
They look so good. Come on.
Look, they look bad in the first half, though.
This is what the Eagles are supposed to look like, all right?
Yeah.
So,
But all right, ladies and gentlemen.
They might even jump all the way up to the top 5.
Well, hold up. No, let's not go that far. All right, we might need to pull
Hey,
Pat's
Pat,
segment.
put down the pixie stick. Stop snorting it.
Tank, you should let him keep going because then he'll get the worst take of the year.
Okay,
Oh,
yes,
that's
I
true.
should go. Go for it. Go.
But all right, ladies and gentlemen, we hope you guys did enjoy. Next week, we're not doing in or outs next week because next week marks halfway point. So that means we're
Trade
going to
deadline, too.
revise. Yeah. So we're going to revise and we're going to talk about who we think now is MVP, OPOY, DPOY, new Super Bowl predictions and everything. So you boys better start doing your research.
I got it up here. MVP, Jalen Hurts. OPOY, Saquon Barkley. Coach of the Year, Nick Sirianni. Receiver of the Year, A.J. Brown.
Defensive Player of the Year,
keep going.
Cooper DeJean.
Keep going.
Yep.
Keep going. Yes, keep going.
Super Bowl, Eagles, and it don't matter because they're winning.
Eagles versus everybody.
And the score is going to be
Devonta
60
Smith,
to
Super
nothing.
Bowl MVP.
60 to nothing is going to be the score, right, Pat?
But yes, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to hit our midway point next year. You guys always seem to like it when we hit the midway point. I think those are like normally our most viewed videos. So, I have fun doing it. It's a little different. But
Agreed.
all right, on to you, Pat.
Yeah, well,
Hey, make it quick so Tank's computer doesn't blow up on us right before the
Why did you have to say that? Because I
before the
would literally
outro.
say that. I was literally going to say that right after he finished.
Say we don't need to try and do the outro again, Pat.
here, I got this real quick. Just in case Tank freezes before I leave, you can follow us on X, aka FRTA, okay.
RDJ.
Take it away, YMCA.
Well, like Tim said, my computer didn't crash, so I'm able to do it. You can follow us on the good old X, aka FKA, Twitter. You can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts. And don't forget, when we hit 100 subscribers on the YouTube page, one lucky fan will win something from yours truly, Tim, Tank, and Pat. Go watch our TikTok. I've been putting out hot takes, and there will be another one coming up this week. Other than that, I'm going to sign off, and I'll see you all next week at halfway point through the NFL season. Peace, y'all.
Goodbye, everybody.